Hello, welcome to Breakfast with Kayla. Kayla, thank you so much for coming today. This is a really exciting episode because I've known Kayla since 2011, I want to say.
That's so
and we're now
me.
in 2024. So yeah, I've been watching Kayla's, I've been watching your journey as a creative person on social media, and now we're in two different states, but we can still have breakfast together. I have a scone here, a lemon scone. You got coffee.
Grey.
What's in your coffee?
It's actually an Earl Grey, and it's got some oat milk and honey in it, and it's feeling good about that.
Love it.
I've been on a real tea kick.
Nice. Earl Grey with oat milk and honey. These actually have Earl Grey in it. This is lemon,
Ooh, yum.
Earl Grey, poppy seed that Mo made, and then this is a fresh loaf of bread that I baked, but Mo made the dough.
Yes.
So I love breakfast.
I saw
like
that
breakfast is my favorite part of the day, and I kind of eat like second breakfast.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a quick.
Yeah, you messaged me.
I did. Sorry, I had a quick frozen moment on my computer, and I wanted to make sure all was well. But yeah, I messaged you because I was like, oh, that looks so good. But you guys are always tempting me with the gluten I can't have.
I know. Yeah, I can't have like certain preservatives, like certain breads from the store. I'll have one bite and I'll feel super full and not want to keep eating. And it's like so weird. Like that probably started happening when I was like 26 or 27. And then yeah, but like if Mo makes something at home from scratch, usually I'm fine. I'm like it literally doesn't affect me at all. So bread, I was joking with Mo that I'm like, yeah, I'm on the early 90s food pyramid diet of like bread being the base.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, that's what we're having for breakfast today. And we're gonna be talking about your shop, new. It's in Salt Lake City, and you're currently sitting inside of it. When does the shop officially open?
So the official shop has been technically open for 3 years online, but the true brick and mortar is opening up April 6th. All things going according to plan, hopefully. But really excited for it. Just had a pop-up in January that kind of came out of nowhere. Girlfriends of mine were like, hey, we're moving into a new store shop. Like, do you want to rent the last week from our old location? And I figured, why not? And set up, and people blew me away. I was not expecting my locals to show up for the way that they did. I've been online the last 3 years, so it's been 50% online, 50% local, and it was been really cool to see how my local business is built more than I was expecting, and really be rewarded that way.
Yeah. So is that how you view your business? Do you view it as a local business, or do you view it as like an online? Like, are you mostly shipping out of state, in state? How has the business been evolving over the years, and what's kind of like the current state of it?
Yeah, so I started kind of near the tail end of 2020, and so at that point, lots of places still weren't open around me. People were heavily using online, and so it felt like the right way to marry the two, where I wasn't really ready to open up a store. I didn't quite know what the industry was like in this area. I didn't grow up here. And so when I was first starting, I thought online would be best because I've always been online with blogs and my old YouTube channel and different things I've done just creatively over the years. So it felt like the easiest way to transition, at least maybe hopefully some of my audience, where I was like, oh, well, at least I'll get friends and family over there, and that can kind of get the ball rolling. But after about my first 2 drops, collections, I was able to see okay, this is something I can actually really do for income and not just hobby money, which was really cool that I was able to make that switch that quickly. But then I went and shadowed under a guy locally who's been doing vintage for over a decade and really wanted to learn some skills and how to restore things. And so I worked with him for about a year and really learned like the ins and outs, but was already doing my shop stuff online while kind of learning stuff locally, if that makes sense. And then about after a year, I started doing local markets to actually build out the local side. So kind of just whatever happened online. And if local people found me through Facebook or Craigslist or whatever, then they did. But if not, I was shipping, initially I was shipping most of my business. And then now it's kind of 50-50. And then in the last, couple months, it's swung towards a lot more local. But I still
That's
have
awesome.
a lot of the online, which is great.
Yeah. So what kind of creative mindset do you see yourself? Like, what's your role? I like to kind of pick people who I think could help me define what a creative director is, because to me, that seems like the word that I use for Ildefonso Inc. But at the same time, I feel like every business owner is in some way a creative director. And so for you, do you see yourself as more of a storyteller, an artist, a designer, a curator? Like, what's your mindset when you're putting together a seasonal drop, or you're setting up your shop for opening, or you're doing a market? Like, how do you view yourself in the process of like delivering your best work?
Yeah, I think I like that my items can speak for themselves if I'm not here, right? I want them to be able to still have presence and character and interest and their own story, right? But I can definitely tell a difference if, I've got somebody else trying to sell something for me versus I'm doing it myself. It can be a very different experience. I rented booth space from other businesses before trying to do my own thing, and it just didn't work for me. And I think a big part of that was like not being able to be present with my pieces and being able to really give them the history and like background, or have that conversation to really paint the bigger picture for people. I kind of feel like when it comes to my creative director side, it kind of falls into curation meets like not quite interior design, because I have not taken the time to learn that side of the world, and I know there's very specifics within that like whole world of interior design. Like, I have barely cracked into it, but I think it's kind of the blend between the two, where I partner a lot with photographers where they're sending me things that they want for shoots, and I'm able to pull a bunch of items for them. So it's like I'm not quite on their team, but I can be a teammate and kind of fit whatever vision someone's coming in with. And so when someone comes into the store, it's more about me figuring out what they're trying to do, and then I can really find the items for them that's going to make things pop.
I love that. And I love how you said that, like, you want the pieces to kind of tell their own story. And that's also a really interesting distinction of knowing when it's your role to be the storyteller, or at least build the relationship with your clients and your customers who walk through the door. Like, knowing when it's beneficial to partner with your peers and expand the eyeballs on your brand versus like keeping it a little closer to you, where you could have more control over that like customer experience and interaction. Because yeah, I'm sure there's a part of the like buying experience where people like to know that you're the one who found the piece, and getting to know you probably adds a little bit more magic to the piece as well. So yeah, the other question the other question I wanted to ask you was, I'm really obsessed with color palettes, and I was curious, do you like look for specific colors that fit inside of the world you're building as a creative, or is there no rules when it comes to color and texture? Is it like seasonal drop kind of focused, or like right now for your shop, are you really hyper selecting within your own collection, or does your whole collection fit in the shop?
I would say the whole collection fits in the shop within contexts. I really like functional decor more than unfunctional decor. So a lot of my things can hold something, or can be storage, or can be glassware or a vase, or I like it, or it's a candle holder. It has a function. It's not just like something, right? Occasionally I have something that's just a cool whatever, but I think it's something that I want the item to be able to be timeless in the house. I don't want it to be something that's this quick purchase. I want it to be something that's like really meant for somebody. So when I'm looking for things, there are certain colors. It can change where it's like if I find an amazing piece of art that's a little bit out of my normal color wheel, I know I have to go find pieces over the next couple months if I want to put that art up so that the art makes sense, right? Where I'll be bringing in a couple colors from the art where I'm like, that's just not my normal style, but now I can make it my style by like getting a couple pieces that either color wise or shape wise or texture wise. I love iron. I love lots of like metal work. I've got a lot of cool metal work up here. And texture, but I do go towards much more of the like neutral, natural tone. I wouldn't say neutral in the way that other people think neutral, like tans and whites and creams. When I think neutral and natural, I'm thinking greens, I'm thinking reds, I'm thinking the pink red rock I see around me in Salt Lake and Utah. I think of actual nature. And so I'm looking at, you know, blues that remind me of the ocean or remind me of a pond, or you know, a really mossy, sluggish water. I'm like, ooh, that's great. That's a great icky green, you know, like that's the kind of stuff I'm connecting to, where I want it to be as close to nature while being something that's very much created by human hands.
I love that. That's a really cool distinction of focusing on nature, because it's kind of, I don't know, is that just us getting in our 30s or us growing up with like social media, but like, why is nature so in vogue right now? Like, I feel the same way with you. It's like green is a color where I'm like, why don't I incorporate more green into the house? Or, and I'm the same way with you, where I have to contextualize a color that doesn't fit. Like, I have a piece of gear right now that's like a red that does not fit my house, and it drives me crazy. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait till I could find something that does the same function, but like fits my personality and like the type of expression like I want to give to the space. But the font that you chose, I was really curious. How do you describe the font and the way that it makes you feel for your logo? Because I was on your site and it looks so good.
Thank you.
And in a way, all of your pieces kind of have to fit under the branding of your font, depending on how you look at it. Maybe you don't see it that way, but like generally the rule is like the font is the first thing that people are going to see. So for you, how did you pick that font? What does it mean to you? Why did you gravitate towards it?
It was a font that when I saw Nuve written in it, I kind of immediately gravitated towards it because of the playful energy while having really clean lines. It didn't feel messy, but it still felt handwritten to a degree. Like it didn't have any harsh lines. It was very natural, very organic, kind of smooth, and it just kind of felt right. Like it just felt right when I was piecing it all together. And it was actually the first thing that sold me on the name when I was rebranding. I was like, this is it. Like the way that it looks, the way that it's working. Like I feel like I will never have to change this. This feels like the final piece, you know? And it was my second rebrand. I don't know if you count your first brand as the first rebrand, but it's definitely been a brand that's developed with me over time. And as I figured out what I really wanted the shop to be and who my customers were and how to serve them better. And it just ended up working out.
I love that. The other thing that I was really curious about, kind of in line with the brand and the name and the logo, is is it like a byline, or like you say new to you vintage decor, furniture, and art as the name of your page. And then, but the username is, I want to say it's shop Nuve on
It's
Instagram.
shop.nuve on Instagram.
Okay, yeah. So where did you get the idea to make your name basically the subheader of what your brand is? Was that through someone else that you saw, or did you just go, I want people to know exactly what this brand does? And because you're trading off some of the like the name recognition of your company, but obviously Instagram is a huge driver for your business, or at least that's how I perceive it. So was this like what led you to the strategic decision?
Yeah, well, so NUV stands for new to you, so quote unquote on new, new to you, old, unique, vintage, and eclectic goods. And so for me, it was really important that people had a decent idea coming in because when you're on Instagram and you're getting suggested accounts, you're only seeing the username and then you're seeing that little byline. And so for me, I'm like, well, new could mean anything. I could be jewelry, I could be clothing, I could be literally anything under the sun. I could sell lotion. And so I really wanted it to be something where when someone's scrolling and making those quick decisions, that they're saying shop new. Oh, okay. Oh, art. I'm interested in that. Or home decor. Cool. Yeah, I'm interested in that. And I didn't want it to be, I haven't put Salt Lake City on there because I'm online. It's Instagram. It doesn't really matter where I am. I'm on Instagram. So for me, it's more important on Instagram, at least, to be able to be really found there and for it to be really clear what's happening there because you only have a couple seconds because, you know, no one cares if it's Kayla that owns Shop
Totally.
New. No one cares, right? But they do care if they're someone that loves interior design and they see a keyword right there, then they're at least maybe going to click in and I get 2 extra seconds to try and make an impact and hopefully get them to stay on the page a little longer.
Yeah. So then, kind of sticking on Instagram, I noticed with your page that you use a lot of trending audio or at least trending songs, or what I assume are trending songs. The only time I've been able to know for sure is because I have friends in Father John Misty, and I know that Real Love Baby is a trending song right now. And so I saw you use it and I was like, okay, so did she find that song through Instagram kind of curating it for her, or did she see other people use it? Like, how do you approach the music in when you like create this like user generated content mode of like promoting your business? Like, where do you start when it comes to music? Is it just coming from your own head? Is it coming from like music that you've been exposed to outside of Instagram, or is it leaning on what's already working for other people?
Very rarely do I find that things that work for other people work for me. So I would say the way that I've approached social media so that I don't get burnout is that I really like to have fun with it. I try to not necessarily pick a trending song. For me, it more matters. Well, it depends because there's 2 different videos that I feel like I try and do. And some of them I think rely on the audio. And some of them I know I don't listen to Instagram with audio on most of the time. So sometimes the videos are much more focused on just taking in the information that they're visually seeing. And so if that's the case, it might just be a trending audio because if I'm just trying to get algorithm, that's going to help me a little bit more. But if it's something that, like with the Real Love one, it was Valentine's Day season. I really tried to pick a piece of music that goes with the context of the video if I can. So if it's like about something vintage, I will try and pick an older song, or I will try and pick a song that has vintage in the lyrics, or I will try and find something that has like the emotion I'm trying to have someone feel in the lyrics. So usually I'm going into the music library and I'm typing in like a keyword, if anything, and then I'm just kind of listening to sounds and deciding which one of those sounds that has that word in it like connects well. And that's normally kind of how I piece music to a video. Unless, like I said, I'm just trying to get it onto a page, and then I might just use like a trending audio. But normally I find the trending audios only work if it's also like a 7-second, 3-second reel that kind of isn't going to really result in people following you. It's just kind of there for entertainment. So again, different goals, but yeah.
So as you're starting up your brick and mortar business, what will you have music in your space? Will you have a playlist? Will you what is like the starting kind of tracks that you would use to soundtrack the listening environment when people are like walking into your space for the first time?
That's where Spotify honestly like saves my butt sometimes because I can have a list of artists or a couple songs that I know I really like jive with. And I can make them make a radio. And then from there, I've been able to like songs. And so kind of been spending the last couple weeks, whenever I hear a song on the radio or if I'm listening to my own music or something, I'll make sure I'm like adding it over. And then I'm like, okay, now that I have this like base, I can then create a radio from there and like build more. And so that's kind of nice that it takes some of the work away while still having a little bit of, you know, being like, no, that's a little too sleepy, or like, oh, that's a little too angry, or, you know, they're screaming for too long. You know, I love a good wet leg, and some of their songs, they just like scream, and I'm like, I'm so here for it, but maybe not when people are looking at glassware.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So then that kind of makes me think, like, do you have, let's kind of talk about maybe what I call avatar. I don't know if this is actually the right marketing term, but it's like the person that perfectly represents your audience. And in a way, I kind of have it in my head for you, and that's Post Malone, because when he went to your shop, I was like, yeah, that's exactly who would shop at Kayla's store, because he's earthy and modern. He's from Texas. He likes country. He likes rock. He's a little bit of like a Renaissance man, but he always has style kind of be forward. And also he's very unique, like very unique. And so when I saw him go in, I was like, yeah, okay, this is his countryside coming out. He's in Salt Lake City. He's looking for like cowboy boots, probably like bullhead like things, and maybe vinyl, maybe like cool glassware for like cigarettes or something. Like, who besides Post Malone is your other avatars?
I mean, do I need anyone else?
Right, exactly.
I would say, you know, I think getting to do the local markets here, I've been able to get a lot of really great FaceTime with people that are really repetitive customers of mine. And to the point that even though I haven't been to these people's homes, I'm getting pictures of their homes, right? They're like, oh, I just put up this piece of art, or look where the vase ended up. And so I'm getting to see these pieces inside of my frequent customers' homes. And so I would say the closest avatar is kind of like mushing all of them together, where my customers kind of become my muse over time, where I know what textures they're leaning towards, or I kind of know where they're going with their home and what their vision is. And it's kind of the best feeling where I get to kind of feel like naughty, because they'll walk in, someone walked into the pop-up and they were like, oh my gosh, I feel like all of this belongs in my home. And I'm like, well, I literally bought it for your home. Like, I've seen a photo of your home, and I literally bought it so that you'd walk in here and hopefully buy it for your home. So it is kind of one of those things that if it can't be Post Malone, I guess it would be getting to see, you know, just the inside scoops of my frequent customers, and them being transparent enough and with me and sharing, you know, those pieces of their lives with them, which social media really helps. I can follow them back and get kind of a little bit more of an insight to them, and we have conversations and things like that. And that really helps build out like, who is this person, and what do they like doing? And, you know, when we have a great snow season, I know I'm not going to get any sales because everyone's skiing and no one's going to come see me, like if they could be skiing. So that's kind of like knowing the audience and knowing when to do the drops and collections and things like that.
Yeah, I love that. That's all really good. And it's, yeah, you're right. Like, if you know your audience, they become your muse, and there's like an interaction that happens that's really cool. It's like you could kind of have them in your head while you're shopping, and you get that sense of excitement, like when they come in and you get to see their reaction. It's kind of like you're DJing almost. Like, that's kind of the feeling of when you DJ a party and you're like, I think they're gonna like this song, and it's gonna be more exciting if I like don't tell them about it and I just play it. And then other times they'll say they want a song and you're like, oh, I'm so glad that someone in the audience is like bought into this, and they're going to be my advocate because I played their song, and now they're gonna like make sure people stay on the dance floor. And so it's like, that is the cool communal part about it when you run a business is, yeah, you want to have your own individual voice, but once you have a community, like the community really matters. And I feel like the community could be sometimes understated or underappreciated. And so it's really cool to hear that you have that community in Salt Lake and probably online too. So yeah, I want to kind of talk about how do you do your work-life balance? You know, like, do you have any, do you rest? Do you turn off your work brain? Like, do you view working as fun or is it work? Like, how do you approach that?
There are very specific tasks that I say fall into work category. And those are like taxes and anything that involves like calculating, anything that involves me in a calculator. Like that's absolute. I'm like double time booking. That is like every hour actually is 2 hours. Like it zaps me of everything possible. But when I'm like in the zone, whether I'm out looking for treasure or I'm in the store restocking, curating things, that's fun time. That's like I get to play. I'm not working. That is playtime. It's only working when I don't want to be there. So we this is a TMI, but we have a roommate, and we joke that like every so often there's these moments where like I would love to walk out into the kitchen butt naked and grab something out of the fridge. But in that moment, I'm being paid like the full amount of rent for that full month to like not do it in that moment. And that's kind of what work is, where it's like every so often it really feels like work. And all the other times I feel really lucky that it gets to really kind of just feel like playing. I joke that it's like playing with my Beanie Babies. Like I'm just creating a world and I get to just create this world. That's the most adult version of probably what my childhood was like, playing, you know, in my own little play world. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And that's something that like I've noticed with a lot of creatives is you're really tapping into your sense of play from when you're a child. And the more that you could identify what that like core root of your passion is, the thing that has always been there that you've nurtured, whether you knew it or not, is the thing that you're going to have the most fun doing. And probably when you're having the most amount of fun, you're going to read as like the most trustworthy and the most skilled in that area. And you have the passion to learn and to grow into that kind of version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. But that could take multiple permeations to find it. Like sometimes, yeah, it's always there, but you just have to kind of dig deeper into yourself to figure out how to access that and how to interpret that into like, you know, adult you.
Or you just, or like adult you finally learns about something that you enjoy, where like I've loved thrifting since I was a kid. And when you and I knew each other and met, doing all thrifting, vintage, loved styling with it. And I worked in a vintage store in high school, but the vintage clothing world just never like fully connected for me outside of my own personal use. Like I didn't see it as a long-term career for myself. And it really wasn't until 2018 when I bought the house that we're in now that I started actually like thinking of furniture in the first place. Like if you look at my childhood photos, it would be the most hilarious story of like a kid with a bed in a corner and nothing on her walls. Like did not decorate until 2018. Like decorations did not mean anything to me. And so I think that's why with the store, I don't think of it as decorations. I think of it as like these functional pieces that can really serve somebody if they're thinking creatively, where I'm like, is it a box or does it hold all your Xbox remotes and makes your living room not look like it's got Xbox remotes everywhere? Like that's kind of what I like doing is making the ugly things in your house pretty and figuring out a way to do that.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for having breakfast with us today. I don't know if I showed it, but my drink that I'll be having today is an oat milk latte that Mo got me into. It's like, there's like a joke where like a guy orders a drink at a coffee shop and then the girl is like, oh, someone's been here before, meaning like some girl has introduced this guy to this drink that he would have never known about.
Someone's cooked
like,
here.
yeah. Or I guess this isn't even oat milk anymore. Now it's almond milk. I used to have oat milk, and then Mo told me how many calories I was eating every day with like my oatmeal with the oat milks and like a shake with oat milk. And so oat milk is like now my treat when I go to get coffee outside. But she's gotten me used to almond milk, and I actually do enjoy it now, but it was a hard adjustment.
Oat milk for me and like the morning coffee, morning matcha, like it is so, it makes it taste like cereal milk, and it's like just so tasty that honestly it's like it gets me out of bed and it's worth it. The calories are worth it.
Absolutely.
It's the only way I can get out of bed.
It's so good. I love oat milk. Well, thank you again for doing this. This was so much fun, and I'm so excited to see the store open and have people going in it, and all the posts of all that.
Thank you to you and Mo. You guys have been supporters of the shop since I opened it online.
Yes.
And it's been such a great way of being able to stay connected with some people that aren't local. But it's fun getting to see the pieces when I get to see them on your guys' posts. Yeah. And I appreciate the support because it was people like you that made it possible for me to keep going in that first year and really keep like exploring the world. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, they're the candle stick holders that we haven't put candles in yet, but they're right there. And there's a bunch of stuff in the kitchen and throughout the house.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something else in this room that I'm forgetting, but yeah.
It's probably like a hidden rug or something.
Yeah. Totally. Well, I will let you go. Thank you again. And where can people find you? Where do you want people to check out your stuff?
You can find me on Instagram at shop.nouve, Nouve, or www.nouve.shop is our website. We will be updating it as we know more, but right now we do have some inventory on there that is already posted, but we are transitioning a different shopping option for people that are non-local to book some time and shop inside the store digitally. So we'll be updating the website soon. And if you're in Salt Lake, I will be updating my Instagram with our location once we open, but we will be opening up on South Temple downtown, and hopefully we will be opening up on April 6th.
Sweet.
But thanks so much.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will talk to you later. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.